Let's hear from the man himself, Joe. This is what Thomas Tuchel had to say after the game. Oh, we're going to do the standings first. There we are. England are sitting 5 points clear of Serbia then at the top of the group. Would you like to hear what Thomas Tuchel had to say, Craig?
Is he running?
Yeah, no, here he comes. There he is.
I'd rather hear him.
I like the performance. It was a good performance, a solid performance against a low block. The second goal came too late to play with maybe 100% freedom that is needed to score more. We created a lot of chances but didn't convert them. In general, with the effort and attitude, I am totally satisfied.
I remember the time on this show where you used to drive the show.
What do you mean?
Or you used to think you drove the show. Well, you called for the interview there, and you were blatantly ignored by several people behind the scenes.
That's fair enough. Right, Nedum,
a stain on your power.
Nedum, out of everyone here, you were the only one who watched this.
Okay, I watched it because I like to watch England. I like to watch them in international break. It was just a shame that it was against Andorra, though, because with all due respect to them, they've never really had the physicality, the technique, or the real belief or desire to be able to get something in this game. So from them, you could see from the get-go, they were just holding on and holding on. There was a really good low block from them, but there was no real threat in transition and such. So for England, it was almost like one of those training drills where it's attack versus defence, wave after wave after wave after wave. Well, can you break them down? I think from England's standpoint, you'd want to see more chances created because, you know, seen from the stats there, like England's XG from this game, I think it was like 2.2. But in that Portugal game, we've just seen them have 6. You know, that's real creativity and that's away from home as well. And I think to really sum up how this game went, which is obviously going to be one of those games where people aren't really going to enjoy watching it, you could probably hear conversations in the crowd. That says a lot about the nature of this game itself. And yes, it wasn't at Wembley, so it's a different environment. But it was just a case of one side attacking against the other without a huge sense of urgency because they essentially knew they were in control of the game. 82% possession, people trying to do things, trying to find pockets of space, but there was no real space there. And today when England missed their chances, so it ends up being a little bit disappointing, to be honest. And, you know, this is why some people say they hate watching England, because there are games just like this. But ultimately, as Craig said, you know, it's all about getting ready for the tournament next summer. And I think as I was watching it, I thought to myself, England are struggling to create here, and there'll be sides who will play in a similar style at the World Cup next year, who will have a little bit more in attack. And I wonder what that could look like for England stepping up against them, because the last time England played, it was in a loss to Senegal at home as well. So I think it was good for them to get the 3 points, but still there's more work to do.
Let's hope nobody at the World Cup.
Shut up. Nedum, did anyone stand out?
Yeah, people leaving.
Yeah, I saw quite a few people leaving. But to be honest, I quite liked Elliot Anderson in midfield. I thought he looked really dynamic. He was good at winning the ball back. He was trying to inject a bit of tempo in some of the attacks, and he took the ball under pressure as well. So I was quite impressed with him in that position, because previously, like, you'd see the different midfielders that would be in there, but I wouldn't have thought that he could be a starter. You know, going back to the last Euros, you had Kobe Mainoo in there, who's somebody who's not playing any football at the moment. So perhaps he's going to be somebody who, obviously, it's against Andorra, it's at home, it's a comfortable setting. But he took the ball well, and he was keen to try and make a difference for England. And whenever there was a chance to inject tempo, I think he did that. And I think the fact that Tuchel trusted him as well to allow Declan Rice to go forward, I think that could be a good option for them going forward. So yeah, I thought he did well. I thought Madueke did well. But ultimately, like, it's a game that lots of people are going to try and forget about as soon as possible.
I mean, this is the problem you've got, is like with these internationals, particularly like Armenia, Portugal, England, Andorra, you know, people will say, well, the manager always learns something. Really? I mean, really? Andorra? And this is the problem. When you have games that just put people off like this, they're not even worth a watch, unless you're just an ardent supporter. Is the more that FIFA open up these World Cups to more teams and inflate it as they are doing, it seems within every couple of tournaments, the more games you're going to see like this. And that's not what World Cups are all about. And I'm not denying smaller countries an opportunity to get to major competitions, but you have to have a certain amount of ability to go and make a match of it. And these countries, a lot of them do not. And the more you just open it up to the qualification process being more simplistic and easier, then the World Cup becomes, the early stages of it become much like the early stages of World Cup qualifying. And it's off-putting, because the whole point about these elite level tournaments is to get there and match up as best as you can, the best with the best. And it has to, and it's super competitive. And nobody wants to switch on a World Cup and see games with 80 and 85% possession. You just don't. And I don't give a stuff if there's anybody out there saying, well, yeah, because it'd be nice to see these. No, it wouldn't be nice to see them at the tournament because nobody wants to watch them. Nobody wants to watch them. And that's just, I'm not being nasty. It's a fact of life. And I, for one, don't, and it's why I'm so much against making major tournaments inflated, because it dilutes the quality. And that's why these World Cup qualifiers, a lot of them early on, are just such a tough watch, because there's just no competitive edge to these games, and it becomes like just a drab, wet drip of a game, which most England games these days is. And I think this is a big problem for Thomas Tuchel. I think there's an element of the fan base in England who support England, and I think there's a big element of the journalists who follow this team are thinking, is he going to have the drive to push this team forward? Is he going to be any better than Gareth Southgate? You might say, well, when it comes to the crunch moments and the crux decisions, he's got more of a tactical nous than Gareth Southgate. You could pitch that argument forward because of the success he's had. But he's going to have to go and prove that. At times when Southgate never made a substitution or a change in midfield or a change of shape, that's what they're looking for from Thomas Tuchel. And I think there is a grave danger that he might be the rabbit in the headlights when it comes to doing that again. And I think the English media are I think if he does great, they will laud him. And if he is average, they're going to absolutely pan him.